What if the people who were supposed to find the truth simply decided to stop looking? What if the detectives, the investigators, the very people sworn to protect and serve, closed the file, packed up their evidence, and walked away? Not because the case was solved, not because justice was served, but because someone, somewhere, with enough power and enough influence, told them to stop. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not fiction. This happened, and the truth behind this case is so deeply buried that most people will never hear about it. But today, you will. It started on a cold November evening in the small town of Harwich, just outside of Manchester, England. A town so quiet, so ordinary that nothing truly shocking had ever happened there before. Children played in the streets, neighbors knew each other by name, doors were left unlocked at night. It was exactly the kind of place where people felt completely safe. And that is precisely what made what happened next so absolutely terrifying. Because when something dark finally came to Harwich, it came without any warning at all. A young woman named Claire Bennett, 24 years old, a school teacher loved by everyone who knew her, left her apartment on the evening of November 9th to walk to her friend's house 3 streets away. It was a walk she had done hundreds of times before, 10 minutes at most. She texted her friend Sarah at 7:43 p.m. saying she was leaving. She never arrived. Sarah waited an hour before calling Claire's phone. No answer. She called again. No answer. By 10 p.m., Sarah had called the police. By midnight, Claire's family had been notified. And by the following morning, the entire town of Harwich had woken up to the devastating news that Claire Bennett had completely vanished. The initial investigation moved quickly. Police canvassed the entire route between Claire's apartment and Sarah's house. They knocked on every door. They reviewed every available security camera in the area. They found Claire's phone lying face down in a narrow alleyway halfway between the two houses. The screen was cracked. The battery was still at 43%. There were no signs of a struggle nearby, no torn clothing, no dropped belongings, just the phone, lying there in the dark, as if it had been carefully placed rather than dropped in panic. Forensic teams processed the alleyway for 12 straight hours and found absolutely nothing that could identify another person being present. But then, 3 days into the investigation, something changed. A witness came forward. An elderly man named Robert Calloway, who lived in a house directly overlooking that alleyway, told police he had been sitting at his upstairs window that evening, as he did every night, and he had seen something. He described a dark SUV parked at the entrance of the alleyway at approximately 7:50 p.m. He said 2 men in dark clothing had walked into the alleyway and walked back out less than 4 minutes later. He said the SUV had a very specific parking permit sticker on its rear window, one that he recognized immediately because he had seen that same sticker before. It was a government vehicle permit. Robert gave a full, detailed statement. He was confident in what he saw. He had no reason to lie. The following morning, Robert Calloway received a phone call. He never told anyone what was said during that call, but his daughter later revealed that after that call, her father refused to speak about the case ever again. He withdrew his statement, he stopped answering questions from journalists, and within 2 weeks, he had quietly moved out of his home in Harwich and relocated to an address that his own family was not given.
Robert Calloway was gone. His statement was withdrawn. And just like that, the only real lead in Claire Bennett's disappearance had simply evaporated. But Detective Marcus Webb, the lead investigator on the case, was not ready to let this go. He had been a police detective for 23 years. He had closed over 200 cases in his career. And something about this one, something deep in his gut, told him that what happened to Claire Bennett was connected to something far bigger than a random disappearance in a quiet English town. Detective Webb began quietly digging. He pulled records, he cross-referenced the government vehicle permit description with regional databases, he made calls to contacts in other departments, and within 10 days, he had found something extraordinary. 3 other women had disappeared in towns within a 50-mile radius of Harwich over the previous 4 years. All 3 cases had been officially closed due to lack of evidence. All 3 women had vanished without a single trace, and in all 3 cases, witnesses had later mentioned seeing dark vehicles near the last known locations of the missing women. Every single one of those witness accounts had been formally dismissed in the official case files as unreliable. Detective Webb compiled everything into a detailed report and submitted it to his superior officer, Chief Inspector Graham Holloway, requesting that all 4 cases be officially linked and reinvestigated as a connected series. He submitted that report on a Friday afternoon. On Monday morning, he arrived at the station to find that Chief Inspector Holloway had retired over the weekend, effective immediately, with no prior notice given to anyone. A temporary replacement had already been assigned, and Detective Webb's report, along with every piece of additional evidence he had gathered, had been marked as inadmissible and removed from the system. 2 weeks later, Detective Marcus Webb was formally reassigned to a desk position in a completely different department. No reason was given. No complaint had been filed against him. No performance issue had been raised. He was simply moved, quietly, efficiently, and completely away from the case. He resigned from the police force 4 months later. In a rare interview he gave to an independent journalist shortly after his resignation, he said only this: "Some doors are not meant to be opened, and the people who open them anyway tend to disappear too." Claire Bennett has never been found. Her case was officially closed 14 months after her disappearance due to insufficient evidence. Her family has never stopped searching. Her mother still leaves the porch light on every single night. The 3 other women from the surrounding towns have never been found either. Robert Calloway has never spoken publicly again. Chief Inspector Graham Holloway has never been seen or heard from since his sudden retirement, and Detective Marcus Webb has completely disappeared from public life. No social media, no interviews, no contact with former colleagues. Nobody knows what happened to Claire Bennett on that cold November evening. Nobody knows who was in that dark SUV. Nobody knows what Robert Calloway was told on that phone call that made him abandon everything and vanish. Nobody knows why 4 connected cases were all quietly buried. And nobody, not a single person with the power to act, has ever demanded answers. The case is closed. The file is sealed. The truth is buried. And somewhere out there tonight, the porch light is still on. Subscribe now, because this was just the beginning. The next case is even more disturbing.